Little black girl walked up to the police and says, "Follow me." At home, truth leaves everyone in tears. It was a quiet morning in Charlotte, North Carolina, the kind where sunlight filtered through the oak trees, casting warm, dappled patterns across the suburban streets of a modest neighborhood. Officer Daniel Carter, a 47-year-old veteran with 23 years on the force, sat in his patrol car, parked near a corner store finishing a report while sipping lukewarm coffee from a thermos. His weathered hands moved steadily over the paperwork, the routine of the job second nature after decades of service. He thought he'd seen it all: car accidents, petty thefts, domestic disputes, until a small figure caught his eye in the side mirror running toward him with a frantic energy that snapped him out of his thoughts. His heart quickened. Something was wrong. Amara, a 7-year-old black girl in a wrinkled purple dress, sprinted down the sidewalk, her braided hair bouncing with each step, her face streaked with tears. She clutched a worn teddy bear tightly against her chest, its faded fur a testament to countless nights of comfort. Daniel set his coffee down and stepped out of the car, his instincts kicking in. The street was unusually still. No joggers or dog walkers, just this tiny girl running alone with purpose. She reached him, panting heavily, her small chest heaving as she looked up with the biggest, most frightened brown eyes he'd ever seen. "Mr. Police Officer, please, you have to help me," she gasped, her voice trembling but resolute. Daniel knelt to her level, his deep voice softened to ease her panic. "Hey, there, sweetheart. What's your name? Are you okay?" His eyes scanned her for injuries, but she seemed unharmed, though her distress was palpable. "I'm Amara," she whispered, wiping her nose with the back of her hand, her teddy bear dangling from the other. "Amara Jackson. I'm not hurt, but my mama, she can't get up." Her voice cracked as fresh tears spilled down her cheeks, and she hugged the bear tighter. "She tried to make breakfast this morning, but she fell down and she's breathing funny. She won't wake up right." Daniel's heart skipped a beat, a chill running down his spine. He'd handled medical emergencies before, but the raw fear in this child's eyes was something else entirely. "Where's your mama, Amara? Where's your home?" he asked, his tone urgent but calm, trying to keep her grounded. Amara pointed down the street with a trembling finger, her small body shaking. "2 blocks that way, on Cedar Lane." "Please, mister, will you come with me? Mama always told me if something really bad happened, I should find a police officer. She said, you help people." The desperation in her voice cut through him, and he glanced around the street again, noting the eerie quietness. No adults in sight, no one calling for a missing child. Just this brave little girl who'd summoned the courage to run 2 blocks alone to find help. "Of course, Amara. I'll come with you," Daniel said firmly, his decision instant. "That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to help your mama." Amara's face showed a flicker of relief, though worry still clouded her eyes. She clutched her teddy bear even tighter, its worn fabric pressed against her chest like a lifeline. "Her name's Olivia. Olivia Jackson. She's the best mama in the world, but she's been sick for a really long time. She tries to hide it from me, but I know." Her voice was small but fierce, carrying a love and determination that struck Daniel deeply. As they began walking quickly towards Cedar Lane, he radioed his dispatcher, his voice steady despite the urgency. "Dispatch, this is Unit 312. I'm responding to a possible medical emergency on Cedar Lane, requesting backup and an ambulance. Over." Amara walked beside him, her short legs taking quick, almost running steps to match his longer strides. She glanced up, her eyes searching his face. "Officer, what's your name?" she asked, her voice steadying slightly as she focused on him. "Daniel Carter," he replied. offering a small smile to reassure her. "But you can call me Officer Daniel if that's easier." "Officer Daniel," she said, testing the name. Her tone small but determined. "My mama's really good. She works so hard and takes care of me all by herself. But lately she's been getting weaker. This morning when she fell, she looked so scared. I've never seen her look scared before." Her words painted a picture of a family struggling quietly, and Daniel's chest tightened at the thought of this little girl carrying such a burden. They turned the corner onto Cedar Lane, a quiet street lined with modest homes, their small yards dotted with flowers and faded lawn ornaments. Amara pointed ahead to a yellow house with a sagging picket fence and a patch of daisies near the porch. "That's our house," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Mama planted those daisies last spring. She said even when things are hard, we should always try to make something beautiful." The words hit Daniel like a wave, a reminder of the resilience behind this child's fear. As they approached the front door, Amara suddenly stopped and grabbed his uniform sleeve, her small hand trembling. "Officer Daniel," she said, looking up with those big, trusting eyes. "Promise me something." "What's that, sweetheart?" he asked, kneeling again to meet her gaze. "Promise you won't let them take her away? She's not a bad mama. She's the best mama. She just needs help to get strong again." Her plea was raw, and Daniel felt something deep in his chest tighten, a mix of protectiveness and admiration for her courage. He placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice steady. "Amara, I promise you, we're going to do everything we can to help your mama. That's why I'm here. That's why you were so brave to come find me." Amara nodded solemnly, her eyes searching his for reassurance, then turned toward the house, her small hand reaching for the doorknob. She pushed the door open, and the house was unnervingly quiet, the kind of stillness that carried weight, like the air itself was holding its breath. Daniel followed close behind, his trained eyes scanning the modest living room. Despite signs of struggle, it was meticulously clean, a small dining table set for breakfast with one adult plate and one child's plate adorned with cartoon characters, a testament to a mother's care. Half-made pancakes sat cold on the kitchen counter, and a chair lay tipped over near the stove, as if Olivia had collapsed mid-task. Mama Amara called softly, her voice echoing in the stillness. "Mama, I brought help. I brought Officer Daniel, like you always said I should." There was no immediate response, only a faint, labored breathing from deeper in the house that made Daniel's pulse quicken. Amara led him past family photos lining the walls, snapshots of her and a young woman with kind eyes and a warm smile, moments captured at birthday parties, park picnics, and quiet bedtime stories. The love in those photos was undeniable, a stark contrast to the urgency of the moment. "She's in the living room," Amara whispered, pointing toward an archway ahead. "That's where she fell this morning when she was trying to make my breakfast." They stepped into the living room, and Daniel saw her immediately. Olivia Jackson lying on a worn couch draped with a colorful handmade quilt. She was in her mid-30s, but her face was pale, almost ghostly, her breathing shallow and irregular. Her eyes were open but unfocused, struggling to register their presence. Daniel approached slowly, his voice gentle but clear. "Ma'am, Mrs. Jackson, I'm Officer Daniel Carter. Your daughter Amara came to find me because she was worried about you." Olivia tried to turn her head toward his voice, the movement slow and painful as if it took every ounce of her strength. Her lips parted, and a faint whisper escaped. I'm sorry," she managed, her voice barely audible. "Amara shouldn't have bothered you." Amara rushed to her mother's side, carefully taking her hand, mindful not to jostle her. "No, Mama. You told me to get help. if something was really wrong, and this is really wrong. Her voice was firm, her love for her mother fierce, despite her fear. Daniel knelt beside the couch, keeping his tone calm and reassuring. Mrs. Jackson Amara did exactly the right thing. She was very brave and very smart. Can you tell me how you're feeling? When did you start feeling unwell? Olivia's eyes filled with tears as she looked at her daughter, her voice barely a whisper. Autoimmune condition, she said, pausing to catch her breath. Haven't been able to afford my medicine for 2 months now. Amara squeezed her mother's hand, her small face set with determination. She used to take pills every morning, but they ran out. And when we went to the doctor's office, they said we needed papers we don't have anymore. Daniel's heart sank as the pieces came together, a single mother battling a serious illness caught in a system that demanded documentation she couldn't provide. What kind of papers, sweetie? He asked Amara, while simultaneously radioing for the ambulance to hurry. Our insurance cards and some other stuff. Amara explained, her voice steady, despite the tears in her eyes. We had to move really fast from our old apartment, and Mama says some important papers got lost in all the boxes. Daniel felt a heavy weight settle in his chest as he began to understand the depth of their situation. Here was a family fighting to survive, slipping through the cracks of a system meant to protect them. Olivia opened her eyes again, her gaze fixed on Daniel with a mix of fear and desperation. Please, don't let them take Amara away, she whispered. She's everything to me. I just need to get better. I can take care of her. I always have. Amara leaned closer, her voice fierce. Mama, nobody's taking me anywhere. Officer Daniel is here to help us, not separate us. Right, Officer Daniel. He looked at this brave little girl, comforting her sick mother, her strength far beyond her years, and nodded. That's right, Amara, he said softly. We're here to help your family stay together and get your mama the medical care she needs. In the distance, the wail of an ambulance siren grew closer, cutting through the quiet morning. Olivia heard it too, her eyes widening with panic. No, please, she whispered urgently. I can't afford the hospital bills. We barely have enough for rent and food. Amara looked up at Daniel, her big, trusting eyes pleading for a solution. Officer Daniel, you can fix this, right? You can help my mama get better without us losing our home. As the paramedics knocked on the door, Daniel called out, Come in, we're in the living room. He realized this was no ordinary call. This was a family in crisis, and Amara, with her courage and love, had set something bigger in motion. As the medical team entered, Amara stood protectively beside her mother's couch, still clutching her teddy bear, her small frame radiating determination to face whatever came next. Amara sat in the front seat of Officer Daniel Carter's patrol car, clutching her worn teddy bear tightly. Her wide brown eyes fixed on the ambulance ahead, carrying her mama, Olivia Jackson, to Charlotte General Hospital. The red and blue lights flashed through the early afternoon, and her small voice trembled as she asked again, Officer Daniel, is Mama going to be okay? Daniel glanced at her, his hands steady on the wheel, his voice calm to ease her fear. The paramedics are taking good care of her, Amara. Your Mama's strong, and the doctors will help her get better. His words were reassuring, but his mind raced with the weight of the morning's events. A little girl's desperate run for help, a mother in medical crisis, and a system that had left them struggling. Amara nodded, hugging her bear closer, its faded fur a familiar comfort as the city streets of Charlotte blurred past. The hospital loomed ahead, a large building with sliding glass doors that opened as the ambulance pulled into the emergency bay. Amara jumped out of the car, before Daniel could fully stop her small legs carrying her toward the stretcher as paramedics wheeled Olivia inside. "Mama," she called, reaching for her mother's hand, her fingers brushing against Olivia's pale skin. Olivia's eyes fluttered open at her daughter's voice, and despite the oxygen mask and IV line, a faint smile crossed her face. "I'm okay, baby," she whispered, her voice weak but filled with love. "Be brave for me like you were this morning." Amara's lip quivered, but she stood tall, her determination unshaken. A nurse, Sarah, approached with a clipboard, her smile kind but professional. "Are you family?" she asked Daniel, noting his uniform. "I'm Officer Daniel Carter, responding to the call," he replied. "This is Amara, her daughter." Sarah knelt to Amara's level, her voice gentle. "Hi, sweetheart. We're going to take great care of your mama. Would you like to wait in our family room? It has books and toys." Amara shook her head, her braids swaying. "I want to stay with Mama. She needs me." Her fierce loyalty touched Daniel, and he saw the same courage that had brought her running to his patrol car. "I'll stay with her," he told Sarah, his tone firm. "We'll wait together." Sarah nodded, leading them to a quiet waiting area with soft chairs and a low hum of hospital activity. Amara sat close to Daniel, her legs swinging nervously, her teddy bear nestled in her lap. To distract her, she asked Officer Daniel, "Do you help people every day?" He smiled, grateful for the question. "I try to. Sometimes it's helping someone find their way. Sometimes it's bigger, like today." Amara's eyes drifted to the double doors where her mother had been taken. "Mama says helping makes the world better. Is that why you're a police officer?" Daniel paused, her words stirring memories of why he'd joined the force. "Yeah, Amara, that's exactly why." 2 hours passed, the hospital's bustle a constant backdrop. Amara stayed quiet occasionally, asking about Daniel's job, how fast his car went, if he'd ever caught a robber, her curiosity, a shield against worry. Finally, Dr. Emily Thompson approached, her graying hair tucked neatly behind her ears. "You're with Olivia Jackson?" she asked. Amara jumped up. "Is my mama better?" Dr. Thompson knelt smiling. "She's going to be fine, sweetheart." She was dehydrated, and her body struggled without her medication. "We're giving her fluids and medicine now." Amara's face brightened. "Can I see her?" "Soon," the doctor said. "First, is there family to call?" Amara's voice was small. "Just me and Mama. We take care of each other." Daniel stepped in. "Dr. Thompson, what does Olivia need to recover?" "Her autoimmune medication and regular checkups," the doctor replied. "The issue is insurance and documentation." Amara tugged Daniel's sleeve. "The lost papers from when we moved." "Right," he said, his mind already searching for solutions. They were soon allowed into Olivia's room, where Amara's face lit up, seeing her mother sitting up, color returning to her cheeks. "Mama," she cried, careful of the IV as she hugged her. Olivia held her gently. "My brave girl, you saved my life." She looked at Daniel, her eyes full of gratitude. "Officer Carter, what happens now?" Daniel pulled up a chair. "I have a guest room, and my mother, Margaret, a retired nurse, lives nearby. She can help with Amara." Olivia hesitated. "I couldn't impose—" "You're not," Daniel interrupted. "We're offering." Dr. Thompson entered. "Olivia, your meds cost about $200 a month without insurance." The room grew heavy. Amara, sensing her mother's worry, said, "We'll figure it out, Mama. We always do." Daniel nodded. "What documents are needed?" "Birth certificate, Social Security card, proof of residence," Dr. Thompson listed. Olivia sighed. We lost those moving fast from our old place. Why so fast? Mama Amara asked. Landlord issues, Olivia said softly, avoiding details. Daniel leaned forward. Olivia, we can replace those papers. I know people who can help. Amara smiled. See, Mama, you don't have to do it alone anymore. Olivia's eyes welled up. Why help us? Daniel looked at Amara. Because sometimes helping heals you too. That evening, Daniel drove Amara to his cozy home, its rose garden glowing in the dusk. Your house is so pretty, Amara said. Mama would love those flowers. My mother planted them, Daniel replied. She's excited to meet you. Margaret, a warm woman with silver hair, greeted them at the door. Amara, I've been waiting to meet the brave girl who saved her mama. Amara studied her. Are you nice? Some grown-ups don't get kids. Margaret laughed. I was a nurse for 40 years. I love making kids feel safe. Inside the house smelled of dinner, with family photos lining the walls. Margaret showed Amara a picture of young Daniel in a police costume. He always wanted to help people. Amara giggled. He's tiny. Over dinner, Amara shared stories of her mama dance party's bedtime stories. You're strong like her, Margaret said. Will Mama get better? Amara asked. With love and medicine, yes, Margaret replied. Daniel added, Tomorrow we'll call helpers. We're a team now. Amara woke to sunlight streaming through blue curtains in the guest room of Officer Daniel Carter's cozy Charlotte home. The soft bed a comforting contrast to the chaos of the previous day. She hugged her worn teddy bear, whispering, Today's a good day, Mama, as if her words could carry hope to her mother, Olivia Jackson, still recovering in the hospital. Downstairs, Margaret, Daniel's mother and a retired nurse, was flipping star-shaped pancakes in the kitchen, her warm smile greeting Amara. Good morning, sunshine, Margaret said, sliding a plate in front of her. Did you sleep well? Amara nodded, her eyes bright. The bed was so comfy. Thank you for letting me stay. Daniel appeared in his police uniform, his presence steady and reassuring. Morning, Amara. Ready for a big day. We're visiting your mama, and I've got some important calls to make. Amara's face lit up. Can we bring her flowers? She loves flowers. Margaret clapped her hands. Wonderful idea. We'll pick roses from the garden after breakfast. As they ate, Daniel outlined his plan. Amara, I've been thinking about your mama's situation all night. I'm calling a friend at the Department of Health Services, and Margaret knows someone at the hospital's financial aid program. Amara cut her pancake carefully, her brow furrowed. What's that mean? It means, Margaret explained gently, there are people whose job is to help families like yours. We just need to find the right program. Amara nodded, her eyes serious. Like a treasure hunt. Exactly, Daniel said, smiling. We are treasure hunters today. An hour later, they arrived at Charlotte General Hospital with a bouquet of red roses, Amara skipping down the hallway, eager to see her mama. But when they entered Olivia's room, the air shifted. Olivia sat up in bed, her eyes red from crying, clutching a piece of paper that trembled in her hands. Mama, what's wrong? Amara asked, the roses slipping from her grasp to the floor. Olivia forced a smile, wiping her eyes quickly. Nothing, baby. Just happy tears for Officer Daniel and Margaret. But Daniel saw the document, a formal notice from social services, and knew those weren't happy tears. Olivia, is everything okay? He asked, stepping closer. Olivia hesitated, glancing at Amara. Social services wants a meeting tomorrow afternoon about Amara's care arrangements. Amara's face scrunched in confusion. What's evaluate mean? Margaret sat beside her, her voice soft. It means they want to make sure you're safe and happy while your mama gets better. Amara's voice was firm. But I am safe. Officer Daniel and Margaret are taking care of me like family, and Mama's getting better. Olivia's hands shook as she explained, her voice low. They need to check we're okay, sweetheart. It's just rules grown-ups have to follow. Daniel's stomach knotted. When's the meeting? Tomorrow at 2, Olivia whispered. And they want Amara there too. Amara looked up, her eyes wide. Are they going to try to take me away? Olivia pulled her close, her voice quick but unsteady. No, baby. We just need to show them we've got a good plan to keep our family strong. Daniel made a decision, his voice resolute. Olivia, I'm making calls now. Margaret, can you stay here? Of course, Margaret said, settling beside Amara and Olivia. In his patrol car outside the hospital, Daniel gripped his phone, a notebook of contacts open on the seat. He'd never felt more determined. This family needed an advocate, and he was all in. His first call was to Lisa Nguyen, a longtime friend at the Department of Health Services. Lisa, it's Daniel Carter. I need help with a family in crisis. He detailed Olivia's illness, the lost documents, and the upcoming social services meeting. Lisa listened intently. Sounds like a classic case of falling through the cracks, Daniel. Good news, it's fixable. Bring Olivia to my office tomorrow at 10 for replacement documents and emergency medical assistance. Daniel's hope sparked. You're a lifesaver, Lisa. What time? 10 sharp. And bring that little girl too. She'll charm everyone. His next call was to Dr. Susan Lee, a social worker Margaret recommended. Officer Carter, from what you're saying, this is a family in temporary hardship, not one that needs splitting up, Susan said. Show a strong support system at the meeting, and they'll likely close the case. Daniel scribbled notes. What should we expect tomorrow? An overworked social worker dealing with tough cases. A clear plan for stability will make their day easier. His third call was to Jennifer at the hospital's financial assistance program. I'm calling about Olivia Jackson, admitted yesterday, Daniel said. She's facing big medical costs. Are you family? Jennifer asked. A friend helping her case, he replied, keeping his badge out of it. She qualifies for our hardship program, but needs an application and financial documents like bank statements or utility bills. Daniel exhaled. She's got those. We'll make it work. Back at the hospital, Amara was reading a picture book to Olivia, who looked stronger, her eyes brighter. Daniel shared his progress. Lisa's expediting documents and the hospital's financial program can help with costs. Amara clapped, her voice hopeful. Does that mean Mama stays with me? It means we've got a solid plan. Daniel said, his tone warm. Olivia's eyes filled with tears this time, genuinely relieved. Why do this for strangers? Officer Carter? He looked at Amara, her wise eyes watching him. Because helping someone can heal you too, he said softly. The next morning at the Department of Health Services, Lisa greeted them with a warm smile and a folder of forms. You must be Amara, she said, kneeling. Officer Carter says you're the brave girl who saved her mama. Amara shook her hand politely. I just did what anyone would do. When someone you love needs help, you get help. Lisa raised an eyebrow at Daniel. You were right. She's special. The paperwork took 2 hours, but Lisa made it smooth, explaining programs and making calls to fast-track approvals. Olivia, she said finally, you qualify for emergency medical assistance, temporary housing support, and expedited documentation. Your meds are covered starting today. Olivia's hands trembled as she signed the forms. I can't believe this is happening. Amara beamed. Miss Lisa, does this mean Mama comes home soon? Very soon, sweetie Lisa said, once the doctor gives the okay. At the hospital, Dr. Emily Thompson had more good news. Olivia, your blood work's improving. With meds secured and a follow-up plan, you could go home tomorrow. Amara clapped. Really, tomorrow? Dr. Thompson laughed. Yes, but we need to ensure the social services meeting goes well this afternoon. The meeting was set for 2 p.m. in a small conference room where Daniel, Margaret, Olivia, and Amara waited for Ms. Karen Brooks, the caseworker. Amara fidgeted her blue dress with flowers carefully chosen to look her best. Ms. Brooks entered a young woman with kind eyes, not the stern figure Amara had feared. Hello. I'm here to ensure Amara has what she needs during this transition, she said gently. Olivia shared her story, her illness, lost papers, financial struggles, and the support from Daniel and Margaret. Her voice was clear, unashamed. Amara spoke up, her voice steady. I have my mama who loves me, and Officer Daniel and Margaret, who are like family now. Suddenly, a sharp knock interrupted. A tall man in a suit strode in, Victor Hayes, Amara's biological father, absent for 3 years. I'm her father, he declared. I can give her a better life in Atlanta. Private school, big house. I'm taking her today. Amara clung to Olivia, her voice fierce. I don't want to go. This is my home. Daniel stood, his tone calm but firm. Mr. Hayes, 3 years of no contact is legal abandonment in North Carolina. Amara's under temporary guardianship, and changes require court approval. Victor's confidence wavered as his lawyer called, confirming legal hurdles. This isn't over, he muttered, but his voice lacked conviction as he left. Amara hugged Daniel tightly. You were protecting us even before we knew we needed it. Olivia's voice shook. What if he comes back with lawyers? Daniel sat beside her. We'll handle it together, Olivia. You're not alone. Amara squeezed her mother's hand, her eyes shining. Mama, we are stronger together than anyone is alone. The room felt lighter. The threat diminished for now, and Amara's courage held them all steady, a beacon of hope in the face of uncertainty. The morning of Olivia Jackson's discharge from Charlotte General Hospital buzzed with quiet anticipation as Amara skipped down the hospital hallway, her worn teddy bear tucked under one arm and her mother's hand clasped tightly in the other. Mama, are you really strong enough to come home today? She asked, her voice a blend of hope and caution, her big brown eyes searching Olivia's face for reassurance. Olivia, moving slowly, but with a newfound steadiness, smiled warmly, her cheeks regaining a soft glow from the medication now coursing through her system. I'm much stronger, baby, she said, squeezing Amara's hand gently. The doctors got me back on my meds, and having you, Officer Daniel and Margaret, makes me feel stronger every single day. Dr. Emily Thompson approached with a clipboard of discharge papers, her smile warm and encouraging. Mrs. Jackson, you're officially cleared to go home. Here's your medication schedule, and you've got a follow-up appointment next week to keep everything on track. Amara clapped her hands, her braids bouncing with excitement. Home today. Our yellow house. Daniel Carter arrived, his police uniform a familiar sight that brought comfort to Amara's heart. Ready to see your house again? Amara? He asked, his voice kind. Amara's excitement dimmed slightly, her voice softening with a hint of worry. What if it doesn't feel like home anymore, Officer Daniel? What if it's sad without Mama there, all the time? Margaret, Daniel's mother, knelt beside her, her silver hair catching the morning light filtering through the hospital windows. Sweetheart, a house becomes a home because of the love you bring to it. You and your mama have so much love, you'll make it warm again in no time." Amara's worry eased her small nod, showing trust, and the group headed out to the yellow house on Cedar Lane, ready to start anew. As their car pulled up to the modest house, Amara's eyes widened in awe, her mouth dropping open. The tiny front yard, once overgrown and tired, had been transformed into a vibrant welcome. Fresh daisies lined the walkway. The grass was neatly trimmed, and the faded picket fence now gleamed with a fresh coat of white paint. The front door, once a chipped gray, shone a cheerful blue, as if inviting them back. "What happened to our house?" Amara whispered, her voice filled with wonder. Daniel grinned, exchanging a glance with Margaret. "Well, Margaret might have rallied some friends from the community center, and I might have spent a day with a lawnmower and paintbrush." Olivia stood frozen on the sidewalk, tears streaming down her face as she took in the sight. "You didn't have to do all this," she said, her voice thick with emotion. Margaret placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "We wanted to, Olivia. Everyone deserves to come home to something beautiful, especially after what you've been through." Amara ran to the daisies, touching their petals softly. "Mama, it's like your flowers grew back to say welcome home." Inside, the surprises continued. The kitchen was stocked with groceries, fresh fruits and cereals lining the counter. Clean laundry was folded neatly on the living room couch, and a mason jar filled with red roses sat proudly on the dining table. Amara darted from room to room, discovering a stack of new books on her nightstand and a set of colored pencils on the kitchen counter. "This is like magic," she exclaimed, her voice echoing through the house. Olivia sank onto the couch, overwhelmed, her hands covering her face as she tried to process the kindness. "Why would you do all this for us? We're just strangers." Daniel sat across from her, his voice earnest. "You're not strangers anymore, Olivia. Somewhere in these past few days, you and Amara became family." Amara bounded over, presenting a crayon drawing of 4 stick figures holding hands in front of a yellow house with a blue door. "This is us, Mama, me, Officer Daniel, Margaret. We're family because we help each other." Olivia pulled her daughter into a tight hug, her tears falling onto Amara's braids. 6 months later, the Carter Jackson family was thriving in ways they hadn't dared to hope. Olivia had taken a job as a patient advocate at Charlotte General Hospital, using her experience to guide other families through the maze of healthcare systems with the same compassion she'd received. Amara shone in 2nd grade, her kindness and wisdom earning her friends and admiration from her teachers. One afternoon, she approached her teacher, Mrs. Evans, with a bold idea. "Mrs. Evans, can I do a presentation called How to Help Families in Crisis? I learned that good families sometimes need someone to believe in them." Mrs. Evans, touched by her initiative, agreed, and the day of the presentation arrived with Olivia, Daniel, and Margaret seated proudly in the back of the classroom. Amara stood at the front, her voice clear and confident. "My name's Amara Carter Jackson." She began, her hyphenated name a symbol of their chosen family. "When my mama got sick, I was scared, but I ran to get help, and that's how I found my family." She held up photos, a hospital visit, a family dinner the day Daniel and Margaret became her official grandparents through a heartfelt adoption ceremony. Her classmates listened captivated as she explained how asking for help changed everything. A quiet boy, Jamal, raised his hand. "My aunt takes care of me 'cause my dad's sick. I get scared too." Amara walked to his desk, her voice gentle. "It's okay to be scared, Jamal. Asking for help is brave, and there's always someone who cares." Mrs. Evans wiped a tear, amazed by Amara's empathy, and the room erupted in applause. That evening, at their weekly family dinner in the Yellow House, Daniel raised a glass of sparkling cider. "Amara, You helped your classmates today with your story." Amara grinned, her eyes shining. "Thanks, Grandpa Daniel. I had a great story because of you, Mama and Grandma Margaret." Margaret hugged her tightly. "Your story's just beginning, sweetheart." Olivia looked around the table, her voice soft but steady. "I used to think my biggest fear was failing Amara alone. Now I know strength means accepting help from people who love you." A year later, Amara ran to Daniel's patrol car as he pulled into the driveway, her face glowing with excitement. "Grandpa Daniel. Mama got a promotion. She's head patient advocate now, and I'm presenting our story at a county-wide event about community heroes." That night, they celebrated their family anniversary in the Cedar Lane house, now adorned with balloons and a banner reading, "Thank you for listening to a little girl's voice." Amara unveiled a scrapbook, its pages bursting with memories, hospital visits, adoption papers, family picnics, and quiet moments of love. The final page held her original drawing, now expanded with new faces. Olivia's co-workers, Mrs. Evans, Lisa Nguyen, from the Department of Health Services. Below in Amara's careful handwriting were the words, "Family isn't just who you're born with. It's who shows up when you need them, listens when you're scared, and loves you every day. One small voice can change everything." Amara stood for a toast, her glass of apple juice raised high. "A year ago, I was a scared girl who didn't know what to do when my mama got sick. Today, I'm a happy granddaughter with the best family. Thank you, Grandpa Daniel, for stopping your car. Thank you, Grandma Margaret, for teaching us love. Thank you, Mama, for raising me to be brave enough to ask for help. But most of all, thank you for showing me that when you save someone else, you save yourself too. We didn't just find help, we found each other. That's the most beautiful story." As they clinked glasses, Daniel felt tears in his eyes, mirrored by Margaret and Olivia. Amara's courage had not only saved her mother, but had woven a family from strangers, healing them all in ways they never expected. Lesson learned: this story teaches that family is defined by love and choice, not just blood ties. Amara's bravery in seeking help shows that strength lies in vulnerability, a powerful lesson for anyone facing hardship. By sharing her story, she inspires others to reach out, proving that communities grow stronger when we support one another. The courage to ask for help, trust in kindness, and the bonds we choose can transform lives, reminding us that even one small voice can spark a chain of love and hope that lasts forever.